Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. This is your boy, Hero, and the other boy, Eric, hopefully boy.
I think.
We'll see.
We are live from Austin, Texas.
Yeah, Austin, Texas.
Tejas.
Lone Star. Everybody's favorite, especially Lucas likes this place a lot.
He kind of hated it.
Yeah. We're here. Just got in, like, what?
2
hours ago. And we're just sitting here waiting for the bus to go downtown and check it out. And then we're going to go back to Portland later.
Wow.
Later today now.
Oh, yeah, later today.
Yeah.
True.
Later today. It's currently 2 a.m. here in Austin. That means it's
11.
midnight. Yeah.
11 in Portland.
No, it's midnight. It's 2 hours.
because of daylight savings.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So it's midnight in Portland on the West Coast. We haven't really updated everybody on our current lives right now. Let me make sure this is recording. We're good.
Is it recording?
Yeah.
Or is it deleted?
Yeah. So, Eric,
well, first, let's give a shout out to our wonderful flight attendants.
Yes.
On
We
our flight
didn't catch
to
their names.
Austin. We didn't catch their names, but the whole time we were getting spoiled like little children.
Yep.
We got both deli meat boxes, and we got big old box of waters, and we got pretzels and Biscoffs, and we got a fruit and cheese platter, and they kept coming over to us, see if there's anything we wanted. They offered us cocktails, but we politely declined, stating that we were not of legal drinking age.
Well, I thought they said that. I thought they just asked for like normal drinks.
They did.
And so I was like, oh, I'm good. But I didn't realize they said alcoholic.
Well, so what they said was, oh, did you guys like anything to drink? And I was like, oh, no thanks. And she's like, I'm offering you guys a cocktail.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, no thank you.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I figured I'd be a good citizen.
Yeah. Not like with Captain Joel.
Not like I learned from my past mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes. Just shout out to them, and now we can get into it. Hero, let's hear about your life.
All right. So last time we did an actual episode of this, we were saying goodbye to Eric Lee, I believe.
I thought I remembered I said something about getting ready for instrument EOC.
Yeah, that's about that time.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
I think. Yeah. Oh. That's a good question. We don't know our episodes.
Yeah. No, I think
I feel like the last time we did, though, we both weren't instrument rated, I don't think.
No, I definitely was not, for sure not.
Yeah.
But you might have been.
All right. You keep talking about other things, and I'll look up what episode we left off.
Okay, let me... we are in Austin, Texas. We had a couple other options to go to. Okay, let's talk about the story of how this even happened.
Yeah. Why we're in Nashville, Tennessee.
While we're in Nashville, Tennessee. Yeehaw. Or are we in New Orleans? Who knows? But yeah, so I was just minding my business at work. Normal Sunday, work 10 to 4. Just minding my, living my life. And sure enough, I get a text from Hero that he is just sick of being in Hillsboro and that he wants to get out and that he wants to go somewhere. He's been telling me for a little while that he wants to go somewhere. I just figured he was going to go after his EOC, but he was like, no, I'm sick of waiting because his flights keep getting canceled because of the wonderful, wonderful weather. And so he's like, do you want to go somewhere? I'm like, fuck it. I have vacation days. Let's just go. And so we looked at some directs out of Portland that we could make after I got off work. There was like Orlando, here, Dallas, I don't know, I don't remember the others, but
it was a long list.
There was a
Atlanta,
list.
Anchorage, Chicago, maybe that's it.
Yeah, well,
or New Orleans.
New Orleans, but seats were all kind of iffy. Found out that here seats were looking pretty splendid, and so we were just like, F it, let's go to Austin. We have no idea why we're here, no idea what we're gonna do. We got some recommendations from some very nice people on the plane. We're going to go check out a barbecue joint at some point, go downtown. I found a museum that we can look at. I found this music live venue thing, part of that. Oh, so that live venue thing was part of the South by Southwest.
Okay.
It's a part of.
So
the
he told
thing.
you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's some sort of event South by Southwest going on. I happened across a music live event thing that has to do with that. So we're gonna check that out and see what happens.
All right. So last episode was episode 7, and we were talking with Eric Lee. So that was early December.
Okay.
Or even late November. So a lot has happened since then, definitely.
Yeah.
We do have that one episode where we
you
did
know
like
what?
the drafting of our Iran crew and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was
when we talked about the EOC
December.
stuff. And so that was shortly after my Prague with Eric.
Right.
That was very shortly after, because that was like one of his last like dozen flights or so.
Right. So So at the end of the video, I remember I said, "What do you want to say to your future self?" And I said, "Instrument rated," and you said, "The friend of the guy instrument rated," and then you said, "Instrument EOC."
Yeah.
So, since then, do you want to? I'll go through.
Say your life.
So since then, I had a great, splendid time going to the great Redmond. The first day we were supposed to leave, we weren't able to because there was snow through the pass. And so Linda, who is in Redmond, did not allow us to come. So silly Bailey and I decided to go to Seattle to try to catch a flight to Redmond. But everything was full because there was like a lot of snow that fell earlier in the week. So they were still had all these people who were rebooked on other flights. So every single flight was full leaving. And so basically Bailey and I ended up spending the whole day in Seattle, and then we came back. And then the next day we actually drove in a van with a few other students from HAA. And then we got to Redmond, and basically we got to the campus. We were showed around, and then we were driven back to the our accommodation, which was basically like
a closet.
It was like a closet. It was nothing spectacular. I mean, it's HA. What do you expect? But I mean, it wasn't terrible.
Didn't you have like no heater and like no food?
No, we had a heater. I mean, obviously food we had to pay for. But me and Colton ended up spending our evenings in a room that was renovated into a bedroom that was a garage. So it was cold, and it was just like really janky. But yeah, so we ended up getting left at our accommodation. And we were like just uncommunicated, like nobody would communicate with us what was happening. And then finally someone came and picked us up. Colton flew, and then I was supposed to fly that evening, but we had freezing fog, and it was just like a whole mess with like just like de-icing fluid just freezing over immediately. And so there was just like ice on the planes, and it was just impossible to scrape off. So great introduction. The rest of my time there was basically the same thing.
Wasn't trying to get on the schedule a nightmare too?
Yeah. So like we had to deal with the icing. So de-icing in the morning, and then putting the covers on at night, which took like total probably both like half an hour to an hour. So like adding like an hour to two to my day. And like I had no time to like prepare for orals or anything. Like I was just literally flying, like studying charts, and then like somehow like the last night before my check ride I was able to do a bunch of oral knowledge and stuff. And it was pretty brutal. Like it was just like be at the airport all day, and then be driven home, and then like do study for like 2 hours, and then go straight to bed, and then get up and like do the same thing for 2 or 3 days. And one of our fellow colleagues, he was supposed to take his instrument check ride too. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he was actually sick or not, but he just dropped out. He just couldn't do it, so he left. But both Colton and I passed our check rides. The night before my check ride, I was just like going crazy. Like I was like, there was so much stuff moving around with like me trying to get home to go to Hawaii with Sarah and stuff. But on top of that, just like the check ride. And I stayed up until my check ride was at 5 a.m. I stayed up until I think like 1:30, and I got up at like 2:30 or 3. So I was like an hour and a half of sleep. I read through the whole oral exam guide, and I was just like, my mind was just like going it was just like going insane. And yeah, I got to my check ride, and I was early. I was like all prepared, and I was expecting questions from Heidi. And so basically, I was like really prepared for the questions because I know what kind of questions she asked, and I was really prepared in terms of like preparing my IACRA and my logbook and all my documentation. So she's like really impressed from the beginning, and then like the good just relation continued, and she was really easy on me. My oral was probably an hour long. And she even forgot to ask me my written test questions. And so she told me I had passed the oral before she realized she forgot about the written test questions. And then the flight, I was pretty nervous about the flight too, but we ended up doing exactly the flight that I had done the night before with Michelle. So it was fresh in my brain, and there were 2 RNAVs, and 1 RNAV without the GPS, the WAS, and then a VOR approach with a procedure turn. And everything went perfectly. Like, my departure was really good. That was probably the best instrument flight I've ever done. Like, my altitudes were perfect. Like, the plane maintained itself really well. I had it trimmed out. I was like briefing the approaches. Like, everything was, I was ahead of the plane. I was talking to ATC the whole time. And yeah, went up to Madras, did the RNAV, I think 3-4, and then 1-6. And then came back, did the VOR, did the procedure turn. It was probably, I mean, I've only done 2 check rides to this point, but like it was the best one in terms of flying. And I was pretty surprised that I managed to pass like so well. And then, yeah, the hectic stuff started there. I mean, it didn't stop there. So like after that, I was like, oh my God, I have to go catch my flight because I need to get back to Portland. So I was like, San Francisco is my best bet. I'm like rushing. So I get an Uber back home. I realized I don't have the keys. So I had the Uber driving back to the airport. Colton gives me the keys, and then I go back. And then Michelle's like, I need you to finish your activity, so come back to school. So she comes to pick me up. And, like, the whole time, like, I'm just like, oh, shit. Like, I'm so tired. I'm on an hour and a half of sleep. I just spent all my energy on this check ride. And all I want to do is get home. And so I finally made it to the airport, and then the flight was delayed. And I was sitting at Redmond Airport for, 5 hours doing nothing. So then I eventually made it home, and then things were great. Like, Sarah and I had a good time in Hawaii, and then I made my way home, which is another story, actually. It was a snowstorm, so I drove all the way home to California. But besides that, since then, I've done my multi-engine 10 hours of complex time, and now I'm doing commercial stuff, and so I passed my EOC oral more than a week ago, and then I failed my flight on a few maneuvers that were a little iffy, and so we're supposed to do the recheck in 1 day now. But here I am in Austin, so that's the story of what's going on here. But I'll have Eric talk about his instrument EOC, and
which is a whole other story. Well,
yeah.
the EOC wasn't a story, more like my check ride. Oh,
sorry about that.
You're good.
As you can see, we're at an airport.
A functioning airport.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, last time we did this, I was at my instrument prog that I just finished with Mr. Eric Lee, and that went without a hitch pretty much. Well, the oral wasn't pretty, but the flight was pretty good. And then, yeah, flew a bunch of times. My instructor left, so then I was doing review flights right before my EOC. Wait, no, he left after my EOC. So regular, just doing my flights with my instructor before my EOC. Passed my EOC with Mr. Sehun Park. Wait, no, Ricky Lee. Just kidding. I did a review flight with Sehun. Did my EOC with Ricky Lee. He was a very cool guy. EOC flight went very well. Probably one of my better instrument flights. No problems there. And then I went home for... Wait. Damn, I'm getting this all mixed up. No, No, I did my EOC after Christmas. So after I got back, I did that. Then we submitted for check ride. And then during those 2 weeks, just kind of bounced around, went on a vacation down to Santa Barbara. Yeah, wonderful waste of money and time and energy. Anyways, after that, did I go home? What did I do? Oh, no, I went to Alaska with my parents. Yeah, right. Went to Anchorage for like 4 days with my parents. They wanted to see what it was like, and I hadn't actually spent a lot of time in Anchorage, so it was kind of cool to check it out, like what it'd be like to actually, like if I were to live there and get a feel for what the environment's really like. So I really liked it. Anchorage is cool. Very beautiful, of course. It was very snowy when we were there and pretty cold, but made the most of it and got some good sights. After that, then I came back. I had my check ride with the wonderful Katie Leonard. She was very nice.
What about Maui? Was that before?
That was after.
Oh.
Yeah. So had my check ride with the wonderful Katie. And oral went off without a hitch. She was very happy with my oral. She said I, applied our theory into real world scenarios very well. Then our flight. Honestly, the flight, it was one of my best instrument flights for sure. But it was the knowledge that I had on one of the approach plates that failed my check ride. I was coming in on the procedure turn, thought I could descend during the procedure turn, but I wasn't established on my final approach fix. So because I then busted the altitude because I thought I could descend, it was an unsatisfactory check ride. Katie was very nice and even looked in the procedure handbook to make sure that there was no like loopholes or any way around it, but unfortunately it was very cut and dry what I had broken the rules on. So failed the check ride, 100% justified, wasn't upset. I definitely needed more review flights to feel more comfortable with my instrument flying. So that day was when I met my new instructor, the amazing Kevin Wan, or Hengel Wan. And he said, okay, we're going to go up right now and do this review flight so we can resubmit you today. So I did that. We went up and immediately just fixed it, no problem. After that check ride, during that check ride, I would say was when a lot of my instrument flying and knowledge really clicked. So as of today, I feel like a much more confident instrument pilot, and that review flight went off without a hitch. Even Kevin was very impressed with my flying. He was pretty surprised about why I would have failed, but is what it is. And so yeah, I did a review, resubmitted. Right after we resubmitted, it was going to be a few days before my next check ride. So then I decided to go do the milk run, which was pretty fun. So I forget the exact routing. I went Anchorage, Cordova, Yakutat.
It's
Sitka,
yeah.
Juneau. I spent the night in Juneau. That was amazing. Walked like 2 miles to my Airbnb from the airport. Woke up really early before my flight the next morning to go hike another 3 miles to the Mendenhall Glacier, which was beautiful, amazing sight. And then hiked another 5 miles back to the airport to catch my flight. It was super cold, super snowy. I was just trudging through 6 inches of powder almost the whole way, which was pretty exhausting, but it was fun. But yeah, so then I got back, and then I had my check ride again, rescheduled with Jason Robinson. Weather canceled our flight, so we did our paperwork and then basically just paused right there. So then right back, I was like, hey, well, don't have anything to do. So I just did a day trip to Maui, which was kind of eventful, I guess. I don't know. It was very beautiful. Did a very pretty hike, but it was blowing about 30-mile-per-hour winds the entire time, literally without stopping even once, just a constant 30-mile-per-hour wind. So that was kind of a bust, I would say. So instead of getting the 10 p.m. flight home, I got on the 4 p.m. flight home because I was kind of just sick of it. After that, kind of calmed down with the non-revving and just waited for my next check ride. So then, just got rescheduled with Jason. We flew, no problems, shot the RNAV into Hillsborough. I was a little high on one of the altitudes, but I corrected it for my next waypoint and wasn't an issue. Jason Robinson kind of gave me some tips and advice on how to improve my flying, but overall, no problems. Passed instrument rated pilot now. And then weather,
both instrument
rated pilots, private pilots. Then weather went to absolute garbage the next 2 weeks. No flying, like just totally low ceilings, IFR nonstop. So I didn't fly for 2 weeks, and then finally this last week I've been getting into the doing my complex multi time. So I've gotten pretty much everything done in the past week and a half or so. So yeah, just had my last flight with my instructor on Wednesday, and should hopefully be getting Prague done Friday and Saturday. So yeah,
That's what's up. Sorry, I was like trying to figure out the routing for the milk run.
Oh yeah, it's in my notes. Let me check. Are you talking about the routing that I did?
Oh yeah, Cordova, Yakutat. So where's Sitka then?
Let's see. Cordova, Yakutat, Juneau, Petersburg, Wrangell, Ketchikan.
Oh, so you never went to Sitka?
No, I've never been to Sitka.
Ah, okay. So okay, that's on me. I know for a fact that I'll be listening or watching to this in the future and be like, what are you talking about, bro?
Come on, silly hero.
I was so adamant about it.
And I just believed you. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I went to Sitka.
I don't know where I've been.
I don't know, man. I was just places.
So, that's our now. Maybe we can talk a little bit about our future.
Yeah.
I definitely think it'd be kind of fun to talk about like the transition between the 172 to the Seminole and like.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Feels like it feels like you're going from being a student pilot to gearing up for the airlines. It feels like a lot of instructors and students call it a real aircraft.
Yeah.
You're controlling 2 engines, 2 propeller pitches, 2 mixtures. You're handling a lot more emergency scenarios, losing 1 engine, maintaining your directional control. It's very much more realistic. Also, flying with a glass panel makes it feel a lot more real too, instead of the 6-pack. So yeah, it just makes it feel like we're really getting through our training and getting ready to go fly jets. And yeah, I mean, it's cool. It just makes it feel like we're getting through our training.
I feel like it's like kind of like a false sense of like I don't know if it's false or not, but I feel like the timing of it is kind of interesting because like as part 141 we have to do 10 hours of complex, so we do it in a Seminole that's also multi-engine, which is what we do our multi-engine add-on in. But like I feel like most people, if they're doing 61, they're just gonna get they wouldn't need the complex time, and then they'd end up doing the multi-engine after the commercial, and they'd have a lot more hours by then.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's kind of like a false sense of like, oh, we're like already there.
Sure.
But like we still have to do commercial maneuvers and then CFI and stuff.
But I think for us, it's a little bit more like we're already there because we're at least done with our time building.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas like these other new students going just straight from instrument to the Seminoles,
that's
like
true.
It's like skipping a step.
Yeah.
But for us, we're like kind of halfway through the step.
Yeah.
So I think that's what kind of is the saving grace for it.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely the Seminole's like a real airplane. I feel like the first time I took off in that thing, I was just like, whoa,
the power
shit. I was like, whoa. It
going
kicked me back.
full throttle on that runway, you're just like, whew.
Yeah. And yeah, it like I feel like you have to run through things a lot quicker just because you have a lot less time. And it's like in the 152, you can sit there, pull out the newspaper, get some coffee out. In the downwind, you're like, oh, maybe I should do the before landing checklist right now. Seminole, you're like, bang, bang, bang. All right, before landing. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a big difference, but it's definitely a really fun plane to fly. And
I would say if I could do, like, if the financial part of it wasn't a factor, I'd do all my training in that plane.
Yeah. Like Mr. Riku.
Mr. Riku.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
So, yeah. It's a great plane. Hopefully I'll get my MEI. That'll be nice. And I can get more multi-time and
get paid better as well, MEI.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, my multi-time was really fun. I did it with Marlon. And we did a lot of VFR over the top type stuff, so we'd file, then cancel, and just get up. And,
yeah, that's what we're doing.
And it's fun because you just get up straight up real quick, and then you're over, and it's so beautiful, and then you do your maneuvers, and then, come back in, shoot the approach, get some real IMC time, and Yeah.
And it's nice. I also like it as opposed to doing the commercial maneuvers first, is that we're staying proficient on our instrument approaches.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Because it's keeping you in that mindset of, okay, I'm still having to think about instrument stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like instrument proficiency is probably the quickest to degrade.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because I was sitting there looking at that approach coming in Austin, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
I kind of forget some of this stuff. Like, okay, I'm going to be at or above this feet right here, but like...
Right, and then when I was in the sim, and then Kevin told me, he's like, okay, set up for the ILS 2-2.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a great plane. What time? Let me just make sure, because this thing stops recording at 30 minutes sometimes.
Oh, fun.
So I gotta keep an eye on it. Just make sure we don't talk over it. Maybe I'll just cut it here and then restart recording.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, let's talk about our future. Like,
yeah. So, what's your next goal?
well, in the near future, I have EOC. I have the recheck I have to do. Probably, it's gonna be tomorrow.
If the weather's okay.
It's just crazy to think about. And then Eric has his Prague.
Hopefully Prague, Friday or Saturday.
All right.
I have one more review flight with my instructor.
Yeah. So, yeah. And so hopefully we both pass, and then, I mean, I don't think there's any way we both fail. I don't think there's any way.
Well, there's no way you fail.
I don't know,
There's ways I
man.
fail.
That dude is a little stickler for those little details.
I know what I'll do. I'll march into TJ's office and request Anton.
Yeah. Then you'll get JD.
Yeah.
But JD likes you, so it's not a big deal.
Does she? She didn't like me very much after I left her class so I could do my instrument written.
Oh. Well, anyways, yeah. So that's kind of like the near future, and then for me, check ride waits about 3 weeks. So
is it 3 weeks right now?
yeah, it's like 2 to 3 weeks right now. So hopefully, like, I'll just knock out my CFI writtens and my FOI and my CFII, and then
oh yeah, you still have your CFII to do.
yeah, maybe I'll do my ATP written
as well.
And then
do you need an endorsement for ATP written? I don't think so.
That's a good question. Yeah, and then hopefully I'll have check ride and then start CFI ground. Was that April 2nd, I think, or something like that. It's like the first Monday of the month. And so that's the plan. My dad's birthday's on Saturday, so I'll probably go home for a few days. My parents are mumbling and grumbling about going to Hawaii for his birthday, so might be all over the place this week, but yeah, that's like near future for me. And then hopefully I'll be out of CFI ground probably the second week of May, and then probably like fly for a month or two, and then check ride probably like mid-June or like early June, and then yeah, and then CFII maybe a few weeks later. So probably like early July.
April class for CFI. It's 6 weeks of ground.
Yeah.
So then you're looking at mid-May to start flying.
Yeah.
So then you're looking at June.
Well, you know, like with this new thing, we can start flying while we're in ground.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I think you're just capped at 10 hours or something like that.
10 hours a week?
No, just total.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's
but
good to
like
know.
if you do part 61, you can do your check ride in 15 hours.
Right. But we don't have an hour requirement. No. For part 61, I don't think there's an hour requirement.
Really?
That's what Willie was telling me.
Maybe that's right. I believe Willie more than my own.
I think 141 is the hour requirement, and then 61 there is.
So the 141 is probably 20 or 25 hours, and
Yeah.
61's whatever.
It's 0, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, I'll be like CFI, CFII, July, early weeks of July, mid-July maybe.
Are you going to try to do your MEI at Hillsborough before you start working, or?
We'll see what the hiring stuff is,
Mm-hmm.
and if I have time, yeah, we'll do it. But when that comes, I'll That was weird. I hit like the funny bone there. Wait.
Your knee shouldn't have a funny bone.
Wait.
That's your reflex. Hero's discovering his body for the
Anyways,
first
it's 2:27 in the morning, so it's actually just 12:30 at night for
12:30,
us.
and you could even argue 11:30 because of the daylight savings that just changed.
That's true.
So our bodies are still kind of like 11:30.
Yeah. Anyways, that's my future. Let's talk about
Yeah, Prague coming up Friday, Saturday. Maybe oral Friday, fly Saturday. Who knows, man? Whether it's trash. My goal, then I have the 27 hours of commercial maneuvers to get that done as quick as possible. You failing your EOC has helped me catch up a little bit, which has been nice. This guy is about like a month ahead of me at this point. So catching up, taking what I can here and there. I was going to really catch up to him if I passed my check ride on the first try, but that failed. So, because my check ride wait time was like 2 weeks and his was like 2 months. So that would have really caught me up to him, but of course I failed. So I think I grappled forward a couple weeks of timing for that. But yeah, catching up to him slowly but surely. With the CFI though, it'll put me exactly a month behind him because I'm looking at a May start date. With the way weather's been, I still have 27 hours of flying, so that'll take about a month to get done. So that's putting me at mid-April for finishing up commercial, and then so May 1st CFI ground, or whatever that first Monday is. So yeah, then that puts me, mid-August for wrapping up CFII. My goal after that is I want to leave Hillsborough Aero. I think the pay is just low, and I want to do change of pace. I want to try to get some new experiences in a different part of the country. Also, the biggest factor is the weather, so I've been talking crap about the weather a lot. What I'm worried about is running into winters where I can't fly, not making money, not paying bills, and also it taking longer to build my hours from getting to Horizon as quick as possible. So right now I'm leaning towards going somewhere sunny. I have no preference exactly. I've been, looking at some different flight schools that are interesting, Sky Safety being one outside of San Antonio. But no, anywhere sunny, New Mexico, Arizona, Southern California, maybe even the Bay Area. Don't really care. I'm not going to be picky. It's my future. It's only a year or maybe 2 of time building. So I don't care where I go. I just want somewhere with good weather. I can get as many hours as quick as possible. But yeah, Texas, I like Texas. So who knows? I'm open. That may change later on. I may fall in love with Hillsborough Aero in the next few months and want to stay. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm open. I've changed my mind a few times. That my first goal was going to Alaska to be a flight instructor. I don't think that's going to work out just with weather, like I've been saying. Staying in Hillsborough is an option, but I think going somewhere in the southern part of this country is the best option for me. So, yeah.
For me, I also don't really want to be at Hillsborough. For many reasons, obviously, Hillsborough is boring. And then HA is just kind of like, there's definitely better options.
I think they take advantage of their flight instructors.
Yeah, and it's not a super good working environment, I'd say, but at the same time, like, I know the procedures, and like, I know if I do get to send students, like, I can push them through quicker. I know all the tips, and then, also, like, I can speak Japanese, so if I get Japanese students, it's like probably going to be a lot more helpful. So in my opinion, like, I might be able to get through really quickly just with like more students and stuff. But I also don't really want to be in Hillsborough or work for HA. So it's like kind of like, I don't know. And then I also want to, like, I'm not going to obviously change my career for Eric or Sarah, but like, obviously, like, if there's something there that they're doing that is enticing, I'll probably,
It's a factor.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'll think about. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm kind of open. I'd say probably more open to staying at HA more than you.
Sure.
But at the same time, probably won't be there long run, obviously.
I feel like we're exactly flipped. Like, I'm like 70% sure I want to leave and like 30% open to staying.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're probably the exact opposite.
Yeah. I'd say I'm probably, 65 or 60-40.
Just had to be different.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I just, Hillsborough's boring, and then HA is just not the best, I'd say. And then obviously the weather.
It just, honestly, it comes down, like, I would say it's like 70% it's hard to say, but the biggest factors are the money and the weather. Getting paid $25 in Hillsboro is like basically nothing. Like you can barely live off that. You have to be flying like a lot to be able to pay bills. But then I can go to somewhere like Texas, make 20. I saw a job paying $29 an hour, and the cost of living is like half basically. So you're living a lot better somewhere else, and then having the guarantee, guarantee as much as you can of good weather for flying just makes it feel more secure to me.
Yeah. Yeah, the weather's a big one, too, I feel like. Yeah, this winter has been pretty rough. I feel like I'd probably already be, like, getting ready for CFI check ride right now if it wasn't for the weather.
I agree.
So, it's definitely something to think about, but when that time comes, we'll figure it out. We say that. I feel like we say that all the time, but the time's really coming.
It's coming, but, you never know.
Yeah. But we're still, like, good 3-4 months out.
Yeah, and I think a proper opportunity will present itself. Like, you'll know the right decision to make when the time comes.
Yeah.
And I don't think, at the end of the day, I don't think there really is a wrong decision because we just need to build hours. Like, that's what it comes down to. It's just getting paid to fly.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Everything else works itself out.
Yeah. So, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to talk about?
I think that was about it.
We only talked for 36 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if we combine this with the video reacting one.
I'm probably not going to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was good. I mean.
Let's talk about, okay, here's something. What would you say is your favorite thing about HA and your least favorite thing about HA?
Ooh, good one. Very good.
And we can talk about this in the perspective of if we were going to become CFIs.
Ooh, as a CFI, what do I like? I would say the structure of HA is good.
Yeah.
It's built like an airline. I mean, you have a dispatch, you have people keeping track of planes, due back times. You're not guessing when you're going to have a plane. You're not like, oh, shoot, are they going to be back, blah, blah, blah. You have a pretty good idea of when you'll have a plane, when you'll fly. You have, with the organization, you have a good, I don't want to necessarily say good leadership, but you have leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So you have multiple chiefs you can talk to when there's a problem. It seems like there's people that you could reach out to when things come up. So yeah, I'd say overall the organization of HA seems good. Of course, there's its flaws, but I think overall it's it gets you ready for an airline, and you feel like you're able to fly and you can keep track of things. My least favorite would be, I think, how they treat their CFIs. I don't think it would so much as apply to me because I'm an American citizen and I have options. But seeing how they treat a lot of the Korean instructors turns me off from that school because I think they are underappreciated, undervalued, underpaid. It's like even that thing. Did you see that poster up? Oh, 2 weeks sabbatical every 5 years.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? 2 weeks every 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, that's a joke. I don't like, and I think that they are able to get away with these things because those Korean instructors have basically no other options. They either stay and teach at that school or they lose their visa and go back to Korea where they can't be a flight instructor. And so that just turns me off. I mean, obviously that wouldn't really necessarily affect me directly, but that speaks to how they treat their employees as a whole, and I don't know if I would want to be a part of that. So yeah, that's my opinion. That's my good and bad.
Okay, for my my brain just went blank. I was just thinking about my favorite thing probably is again the structure. I think the part 141 having a syllabus, and then I feel like it's a lot more regulated, so I feel like it's a lot more safe relatively, It's still a flight school that's flying 50, 60-year-old planes.
Every day, hard.
70-year-old planes. So, there's still some, issues with planes and stuff. But, generally, in terms of operations, in terms of, using checklists and, taking care of aircraft and that kind of thing. I think it's pretty safe and like well structured school. And then obviously the syllabus, if I was a CFI, like maybe some students, like, you don't really know how to teach them, you just run them through the syllabus, like, that's, if they go through the syllabus, theoretically they should be ready for their checks,
and at the very least, they've met the requirements.
Yeah. So I think that's my favorite thing. And then my least favorite thing is, I would say, probably the same thing with Eric. And I think like a general just like unwillingness to kind of communicate. I think just like kind of like, I feel like there's things that are hidden. I feel like things that are just like, oh, we can't show you that, or like, we're not going to tell you about this, you're just going to find out on your own, or like,
I agree.
Things like that. So there's like a general like kind of shadiness and like wanting to like kind of save money. I mean, it's a business, so I understand, but I feel like a little bit more like a better relationship between the management and the CFIs, and then the students as well. Like, just generally like a better relationship, like in all directions, would be good.
Yeah.
So that's probably the thing that I don't like the most. But yeah, that's
what if you could say you had full control, you were CEO and chief of HEA, what's the first thing you'd change?
I'd make all the planes glass.
Eric Lee.
I'm just kidding. That's a good question. I think I would. That's actually a really good question. Yeah, I think I would just like pay the instructors more and give them more time off, because that's going to make them happier, and that's going to make the students happier, and they're going to be more refreshed, they're going to be more attentive with their students. And so I think that's just like, that's how the ball gets rolling in like the good direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, just like, I don't know. Yeah, paying the CFIs more, paying probably the employees in general more, and then just
line service making $14 an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, honestly, I was gonna say the same thing, but I'll think of something different since you said that. Let me think. What would I change? I've always had a gripe about the campus layout. I just wish that there was one big like study hall. If I could add anything, I would just want to add a study hall where you have, instead of just an individual briefing rooms are great. Like, sometimes you do just want to like zone in, no other distractions. I just want to do my work. But then there's other times where it's kind of cool to be able to bounce ideas off other people. You can talk to people who are ahead of you, talk to people who are behind you, and that helps reinforce your knowledge, reinforce their knowledge, and you're just, it's a really good exchange of information going on. So I don't know where, I guess logistically it would be hard. I mean, we don't really we have like 6 classrooms and only use like 3 of them. It's rare that they're all being used at once. So maybe reorganize them a little bit. So you just have one big long building where you just have a lot of books, textbooks, you have all your oral exam guides, you have all your handbooks, your PHACs, your instrument procedure handbooks, everything. And I think that's like in the international room. But if you make it bigger and more inclusive of everybody.
241.
And you have like big long tables, and I don't know, just make it more enticing to be able to meet new people and make new friendships would be, I think, very beneficial for a more cohesive environment.
Okay, my ideal building would be like a really long stretch, like a building, and it's like all glass. So while you're sitting in the classroom, you're watching planes land, like where the Chiefs are.
Yeah.
Okay, and then like right as you walk in, you have like big screens with the weather, the current weather, and then all the airports with the dots with the VFR, marginal IFR. And then you have like all the planes like on flight radar just.
So like the op center, basically.
Yeah. So, like, you walk in and you already know, like, oh, in general, okay, this is what's going on. Maybe, like, a flight board of, like, who's flying, like, even
Sure.
the person's name, the flight tail number and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then, like, okay, so you walk in and then, like, you can talk to dispatch or not, or, like, you can, like, go to a classroom and then there's like, a big window. You get to see the planes landing, taking off, and then also just, like, the weather. And then, like, I feel like, yeah, this is just, like, a big common room, maybe a cafeteria, a common room, and then, like, maybe, like, a library type thing, and then obviously the briefing rooms maybe, like, on the first floor, and then, like, it's all, like, connected to maybe, like, one big hangar where they have maintenance, and then you can, like, walk down and, like, talk to maintenance, and, like, they can give you, like, oh, like, a more in-depth explanation on systems and stuff.
Right.
That would be, like, my ideal, like, in terms of, like, Hillsborough, like, on the 31 left side, like, on the west side of 31 left, like, you know, like, a long strip of just glass.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
That'd be neat. Yeah, that'd be fun. I like that.
But that would be, like, we'd have to be billionaires.
Yeah. Well, they freaking should be.
Yeah.
Okay, switching gears a little bit, we have an Ascend Town Hall meeting on March 31st.
Yeah.
What are you expecting out of that?
Nothing much. We had a meeting late January. Yeah, it was probably late January. No, it was early February. Yeah, it was probably early February. Yeah, it was early February, where the Chiefs came and talked to us about our little stats. And it was just like, oh, yeah, okay, so you guys aren't doing good at all, but it's all because of the weather.
Is this the... Okay, we're good.
And so it was just kind of, like, pointless. Like, yeah, you guys aren't doing good at all, but it's because of the weather. So you guys are doing great. And then they showed us all these fancy green and red numbers and stuff. And it was
told us
like,
how many days we are behind.
Yeah. So it's probably going to be something like that again.
Do you think Ryan will be there?
I don't know. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Mine did the same. Oh, wait, never mind. It's still going.
Okay. Yeah, I, like, dropped it and, like, it slid up or something.
Yeah. So, town hall meeting.
Do you think it'll be Panera Bread?
I doubt it. Because it's Portland. That's Panera's Seattle thing.
Well, we have a Panera that's very close. We had Panera on our orientation, the first one.
That's true, but that was because of Kristen, and she's from Seattle.
Oh, okay. What do you think Romeo will get us then?
Probably some barbecue like last. I don't know. Romeo has no clue about anything, what is going on.
We had a whole Alaska airline flight, I guess Horizon, whatever, Q400 flying to Hillsborough, which is a huge event. Like, that's a big thing to happen. Like, Q400s don't fly into Hillsborough. And we were not told about it. We were not informed about it. We had no clue what was happening. We just happened to get a text. Well, he happened to get a text from his friend Riku that, I just happened to see it on Flight Radar. And sure enough, it was like this huge Portland Community College event that we had no idea about. And then I bring it up to Romeo. I'm like, or Romeo. Romero. Wait, what's his name? Romeo. Romeo. I bring it up to him like, did you know about the Q? He's like, I had no idea. So, I kind of wish there was a little bit more communication on that end too. But what are you going to do? Horizon Alaska definitely has a lot more leeway with my heart than Hillsborough Aero. Because I think Horizon Alaska treat their employees very well. So I can look over things like that very easily. But yeah, Town Hall, what do I think that's going to be? I think it'll be kind of a touching base. Okay, congratulations. You passed your instrument check ride. You passed your private check ride. Good job, guys. Here's your little certificate. I think it'll be pretty strict, kind of, I don't know. I think it'll be like maybe a 45 minutes, hour at the most.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I definitely do like staying involved with Alaska Horizon and what's going on with the company and how they are viewing our progress. I value their opinions on our progress 100 times more than what Hillsborough Aero is evaluating our progress on. Because at the end of the day, I want to work for Horizon, not Hillsborough Aero. And so I care about how they're perceiving my work ethic. So if they have anything to say, I'm definitely more open to hearing that and how they are thinking we're doing.
Okay, so I have 2 questions. Both questions I don't have answers to, so I'm gonna ask you, and
Okay.
I don't expect for me to be able to answer right now. But it's the town hall meeting. If they ask you for like feedback, is there stuff you want to tell them?
About Ascend or Hillsborough Arrow?
Just both, whatever your experience.
For Ascend, I think I brought this up at the last one, but more involvement. Like, I want more. I feel I miss Horizon. Like, being part of Horizon as a company is cool, and it's cool that we get our emails still from the stations. Like, I like keeping up with that. We're still on the email list from Santa Rosa station, but I feel like I miss company news. I miss I don't know, it's kind of hard to put it into words, but I just feel like we are kind of like this program that's like in the company but out of the company, but like it's this weird little new subsection. So it'd be cool to be more involved with it. And it'd be cool if we actually had more of a connection with our mentors, our pilot mentors. Mine, I feel like I got lucky. He's really cool. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I got to fly with my mentor. He's a very cool guy, but it would be cool if they brought some pilots into Hillsborough Aero, like brought some Horizon and Alaska pilots in, and we could talk to them and just talk about how they got there, what they're doing, what their work-life balance is. I think something like that would be beneficial. And so, yeah, just more cohesiveness between Alaska, the air group, and Ascend.
I agree. Like, my mentor, I don't have any real issues with him, but I feel like he's just there to be like a spokesperson for me to Alaska. Like, I'll complain to him and he'll be like, okay, I'm going to report that, or I'll talk to someone for you. And it's not...
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. What have you said?
Well, I haven't really said much because, I complained about the check ride wait and being forced to go to Redmond, basically.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't actually really forced, but...
You were kind of strong-armed a little bit. Like, they basically told you if you don't go to Redmond, then you won't have a check ride for who knows how long.
Yeah. So, I told him about that, and he was like, yeah, I'll report that. And so that happened, but my mentor is the same guy that is Lucas's. So Lucas kind of got to that first, and then he that was handed over to Deja, and then so Lucas ended up emailing my mentor and Deja like twice over for the same issue, just like the check ride, and then for him obviously going to Phoenix and then not even being able to do his multi add-on there, them not allowing that to happen. And then obviously just him not having to pay for rent and just exist, just waiting for a check ride.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And on the topic of mentors, it's kind of funny. Off the record, I was like, I found a way to look at the mentor list on spreadsheets.
How do you always find these lists, man?
So I was looking at all these people, all these mentors, and like I was looking at like what they like to do and like their bios and stuff, and then I saw that like Sarah's mentor is like he wants to do like a non-rev trip or like a GA flight where they fly together with their mentees.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, why can't everybody just do that? Like,
right. I got to go with mine.
Yeah, I feel like everybody I feel like you're doing something that you both want to do, and then you guys can talk, and then like, I feel like if every single mentor got the chance to, like, was provided the resources to do that, like, let's say Alaska pays for half of that flight.
Yeah.
And then
the whole pay for the rental.
Like, yeah. And that would just be like a good bonding experience, and like, it's a great way to spark a real relationship with that person.
It's the guaranteed common interest between the two people.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, like that's something maybe I'll suggest too.
Yeah.
I don't think that having a mentor is great, but like I feel like having each other is more important. So sure. I don't think it's that important, but obviously that'd be something that's nice.
Yeah. I think it would be cool just to have more there should be like a pilot Ascend interaction, I think, at Hillsborough Aero.
Yeah.
With multiple pilots and the Ascend students come together.
Yeah.
Kind of like have like a lunch or something. I
Yeah,
think
that'd
would
be cool.
Fun. We could bring up the study at McMinnville, or not study, but the meeting at McMinnville.
Oh, yeah.
The Evergreen Museum.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
We could all fly our 172s down there.
That would be the event. That would be super cool.
Yeah.
All the mentors
yeah.
and mentees flying to McMinnville.
Yeah, but then there'd be 2 people who wouldn't be able to do anything in the back, you know.
Huh?
All the people who aren't private pilots have to sit in the back.
That's fine. It's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That's what they get for being lame.
Um,
It would be like Oshkosh at freaking McMinnville.
so, my other question was going to be, so we have this new Ascend class coming in a week, I think.
Yes, and KJ, the wonderful ambassador
Yes.
for the class.
So we have 1 week before our new class of Ascend students come into Hillsborough. And I was just wondering, if you had to tell them one thing, what would you tell them?
Ooh. I would want them to take it seriously, but not too seriously. Like, obviously, flight training, it's a very serious thing. It's our future, you know, whatever. We're working our asses off for it. But it's very easy to get wrapped up in, like, this is the only thing I'm doing. It's super tunnel vision. And you forget to
Enjoy
take
life.
a breath, enjoy life, even enjoy flying.
That's true.
I think for our orientation, they kind of told us that about make sure you have a side interest, go hiking, go biking, whatever you do, keep doing it. And we were both like, oh yeah, blah, blah. Of course they say that, whatever. But it became a very real thing to where all you're doing is flying, you're studying, you're stressed out. You feel like you're never doing enough. You feel like you don't know enough. You feel like you're not smart enough. You're not flying good enough. But I think that if you find a little bit of that balance, it helps you take a step back and realize I am doing okay. I'm getting through it. Even if I'm not where I want to be, it's okay. And I think having outside hobbies is the best way to put things into perspective.
Yeah. I 100% agree. Like, when we saw the class that was behind us come in, and they were all stressed out about everything, and obviously they didn't have experience, so...
Ooh, sorry. I want to say one more thing.
Okay, go ahead. I'm going to go check on the camera real quick. Fuck.
Did it stop recording?
Yes. We're going to have a blank screen.
You can put, like, stick figures of, like, talking.
That's so much work.
Oh, at least we have the audio. That's all that really matters.
Yeah. I'll just turn that around and make sure it's recording. I don't know why I didn't do that. That's so silly of me.
My one thing that I want to say to every flight student ever in the United States of America is don't be afraid to change instructors.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt their feelings. It's not going to look negatively on you. If you have a different learning/teaching style, you're not going to get anything from it, and you're throwing away your time and money. So don't be afraid to change flight instructors.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a very good piece of advice. My number one thing that I'd recommend for incoming students is I kind of have 2, but like the number one thing I think, in my opinion, is just really getting a good system for note taking and flashcards and just remembering things. So for me, I didn't really do this very well, but I still kind of have a system where I have notes that I took from private that I put it into a Google Doc. And then I made a master list of, okay, these are all the topics that I know, and then I build on it. So what I have been doing is I'll take what I wrote in the private, and then maybe I'll add some stuff that I learned in instrument, and then it just keeps going. So right now my commercial EOC oral doc is a lot longer than obviously my private doc, and it's just stuff building on stuff.
That's really smart.
And so I would suggest you start that, and then obviously you're not going to understand everything in the beginning, so then you start filling in those topics that you don't know, and then every time you're going through, you're going to just look at all of those things, and you're going to remember everything, and it's just going to make your basics really grounded. You're going to have really good private pilot knowledge, and then that's going to lead into good like general instrument, and then when commercial comes around, if you still have that private knowledge, you're set. Like you just have to add on a few topics, a few details to those things, and you're set. So my number one thing would just probably be like start a really methodical and good way of like a system, just a system. It doesn't matter how you do it, just a system. And then obviously like flashcards too translates. Like if you make flashcards for private, it's probably going to be good for commercial and CFI. Like just keep building that system.
That's
and
so
it's going to, you know, make your training a lot easier, and it's just going to like reinforce everything you know. But yeah, my other thing is obviously kind of like what Eric said, is just like, just don't stress out about these things. Like flight training is fun. Like we're very privileged to be here and to be able to do something like this. Like not a lot of people in the world are able to just like, you know, focus on flight training and like becoming a pilot and flying all the time. Like people just don't go up in planes like we do. They just start, okay, crank, and like you know, mixture full rich, and you're going. It's we're very privileged, so I'd say just like enjoy all those moments, and you know, progs and EOCs, yeah, they're a big deal, but at the same time, it's like you fail one, it's not the end of the world. Like,
hell, you fail a check ride, it's not even a big deal.
Yeah, if you fail a check ride, it's not even a big deal. Like it's just like it's all a learning process. Like everything happens for a reason, so you shouldn't stress about it. And it's just like, especially progs and EOCs, they're just CFIs. Like they're not actual DPEs, so whatever happens, okay, it'll go on your school record, but it won't go anywhere.
No airline is going to be like, so you failed private prog.
Yeah, yeah, it does not matter at all. So don't beat yourself up about it, and yeah, just enjoy those moments of triumph, and even those moments of not understanding or failing things. It's like it's all a learning process. So
yep,
it's a big thing.
I wonder if I should text her. I wonder if Sarah's going to be in this next class. The one from
Oh,
Santa
yeah,
Rosa.
that's true.
Where there was another rampager from Santa Rosa that I never met. I've seen her around a couple times. I've traveled through there. But she recently messaged me or contacted me through our old manager. Just asked some questions about, you know, Ascend and some of the logistics behind it. And so I've given her my number, and she's asked me a couple questions over the past few weeks, just, you know, random here and there. So yeah, I hope she does well, and so I'm hoping to see her in this next class coming up.
So, yeah, I think an hour and 2 minutes probably our longest one.
Yeah, your system, that's a very good point. I would say I didn't really know how to study until I got to instrument.
Yeah.
When I figured out.
yeah,
you didn't. You fucking idiot. No, I feel like a lot of it was a lot of pilot knowledge is you don't know where to start. Like it's so overwhelming. You're drinking from a fire hose. So when you can fine tune what you need to study and how you need to study it is a game changer. For instrument, I finally figured it out. Taking resources, we have a ground class through the school, what's called the LMS. So that's all your information right there. Typically, who your instructor is will give you their own notes from when they were going through the training. And then we have like other resources like Pilot's Cafe or whatever that you use. So using those resources, I was able to go through. I'm a handwrite guy, so I went through my notebook and just hand wrote everything in my own words, and then went through it again and made it all into flashcards. And I would say that has solidified knowledge into my brain in a way that all through middle school, high school, I was never able to do. So figuring out how to study and what works best for you is a huge game changer.
Yeah, I think I think also like, especially like instrument, I mean, things seem really daunting, and it's like, whoa, I have to know all of this. Like people will start blurting out random words and random phrases that you just don't know, but it's like, you have to remember that you take things one step at a time. Like that's true for everything in life. If you're looking at something big you want to tackle, you got to take one step at a time. So, okay, so I'm starting private ground. Okay, I'm going to learn about, you know, the engine. Okay, so it's a 4-cylinder, you know, so on. So, like, okay, now I know it's 4-cylinder. Now I know it's made by Lycoming, so on. It's just, you know, and then you just continue.
Yep.
And so you don't worry about the big picture. Just worry about that one thing. in that moment, and the things will just pile up, and you'll just know everything. So
Yep, exactly.
yeah.
That's what my instructor used to always tell me. Just know everything. I'd ask him, should I memorize this or is this important? Yeah, you should know it. You just know everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. That's advice for any of those newer people. I was going to say youngins.
Youngins. They're all probably older than us.
Yeah. But I just noticed how distracting that Target bag is.
How do you feel? One last question is, how do you feel about you're going to be a 21-year-old CFI, probably instructing 23, 24, 25, 30-year-olds?
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be like a interesting, I don't know, because it's like people, in general, obviously teachers are better who have more life experience. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I mean, obviously I'm going to be more knowledgeable in those things, but it's going to be interesting because I feel like there are going to be certain like conflicts and like things that might happen because like I don't understand the actual like human factors in terms of like how to handle things, how to be professional, or like just like understanding what people are going through, because I don't have that life experience.
Sure.
But overall, I mean, like I am the person who's teaching you to fly, not to do things in life. So
yeah, and you know how to fly. That's all that matters.
So I mean, it's definitely going to be like a little strange, but I mean, I'm sure there's been 18-year-old CFIs teaching like 60-year-olds. So
yeah,
it's not like a big. I don't know. You go ahead.
Yeah, I'd say I feel pretty much the exact same way, with an added slight, not worry, but just, it's in my head about stigmas of older people, like 30, 35-year-olds that wouldn't want to learn from someone younger. I ran into that, working at a lighting showroom right out of high school. I picked up on that knowledge really quickly, and so I would try to help people the best I could, but there were times that I'd have a 40-year-old electrician or designer coming in that would basically refuse to work with me because they just figured I wouldn't know what I'm doing. So I'd say that would be a slight concern, that I may not be trusted as much or maybe not respected as much because I'm younger. And so it'd be like an added, just something to prove. I have to prove myself to my student that I am a capable instructor.
Yeah. That's interesting because like, okay, this is kind of off topic, but like I think that women have to prove something in aviation. So think about a young CFI who's a woman.
Like Sarah, being and she's going to be younger than us. She's going to be a 19-year-old female CFI.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like, and she looks young. Like she looks young. Yeah. She's small.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting. I don't think really she's the type to want or need to prove something, but like if someone has a bigger ego,
that's where problems come in.
Yeah.
It's like I think of someone like Caitlin, like she's flying and she thinks she knows more than her instructor.
Yeah.
So when she's getting ripped on for her landings, she's saying that her instructor's doing it the wrong way when she has like 12 hours on her logbook. So I'm worried about things like that where my student's just going to assume I'm wrong because I'm young, or they might not think I'm doing the right thing. If I come across someone with a big ego who's not willing to learn.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's an interesting dynamic to think about.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about more when the time comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then me personally, too, is coming from the other hand of it, is I would have a hard time learning from someone younger than me.
Yeah, I probably would, too.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I couldn't really necessarily put it into words, but I just feel like there's a certain respect and power dynamic that you have, and so you trust someone that's older than you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else?
I don't think so. My mind's pretty blank.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we talked I feel like we got pretty deep and like we talked a pretty good amount.
I think that was a solid discussion.
All right. Well, that's the wrap, and then my camera's blinking red anyway, so it's about to turn off.
Good night, camera.
Thank God I brought my other fucking
battery.
Yeah. Oh man, that would have been.
And now we have a full day in Austin.
Yeah.
12 hours, basically.
Yeah. In 2 hours, we'll be on a bus into downtown.
Yeah.
And then
Who knows? Well, is there even going to be anything open at 6
I think I'm going to be really, really, really excited to get on that plane home to Seattle and just sleep.
Go to sleep.
Yeah.
After we've had a full and fulfilling fun day.
Yeah.
We'll get you on some caffeine.
That's going to make me want to piss so bad.
You always have to piss.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't have to piss the whole flight, though.
Yeah, that was good. I was surprised. I thought for sure you'd get up.
So, that's the little
That's the
update.
scoop.
Yeah. The scoop and
Scoop-de-poop-de scoop.
we'll maybe talk to you once we're
Commercial
commercial rated.
In CFI ground.
Yeah.
We tend to be doing this every 2 months, so 2 months from now I should be in CFI ground.
Oh, we should have talked about like our most challenge. Like since we just like talked about like we're instrument rated, we should have talked about our most challenging instrument like situation flight.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
It'll be for next time.
It is 3:07
We will
a.m.
update you guys in maybe like 2 months, and we'll let you know where we're at.
Yeah.
What's going on.
All right. Cheers.
Good night. I love you.
To who?
I don't know. To myself, because I'm going to be watching this.
Well, what if it's not night for you when you watch it?
I usually watch it at night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good morning and good afternoon to everybody else.
To everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay. Goodbye.
Cheers.